We're now going to take a look at some specialized AI tools, discovering powerful alternatives to the mainstream platforms we've already talked about, and tools that are really good at specific tasks that you may have. First up, we're looking at aggregators. And in this category, we've got Perplexity, U.com, and Otter.ai. Perplexity is a really interesting tool. A lot of people would have this on their favorite AI tool list because, as well as letting you access all of the different types of models that there are usually, they also started out as specialists in search. So it is my go to now instead of Googling. If I've got something I want to check or research, I will fire up Perplexity, I will type in what I want to find, and usually the response comes back with hoverable citations so you can see where it's got the information from. You also have options in there to filter where it's searching. So you can tell it to search just Reddit, for example, if you're after some real life examples of information. So, yes, they started out as specialists in search and they now offer a very powerful interface and a pro account at $20 a month, which might replace you using one or two of the other tools that we've already talked about. U.com, not one that I've personally used very much, but it does work really well. And I know that there's some great fans of it. So again, it aggregates lots of different tools in one place in an easy to use interface. So definitely worth having a look to see if that's your preference. And the third one that I've tried to get my head around on many occasions is Otter.ai. It offers lots and lots and lots of different models to the point where you've got all the iterations going back on each of them, so it might be one that was the 2 years old version of one that's available today. And that's powerful if you've got a specific use case where you want to find one particular model that did something in a particular way for you. Also, interestingly, it allows you to access user created bots or to create your own too. It is relatively straightforward, but slightly harder to use than the first two mentioned here, so possibly one for the more curious or techie amongst you. But definitely recommend Perplexity, U.com, and for those who want to dig a bit deeper, maybe Otter.ai as well. Now, if you're looking to create images, many of the tools we've already talked about do offer that, but there are specialist image creation tools or sites or models out there. Here's some examples. Adobe Firefly, for example, you can go online and test that for free. It usually does create good quality images. What I tend to do when I want to see which one I prefer is to think of a prompt that you want to test against lots of different models. And I've done this before in our tutorial on image creation. You might be familiar with my dog Henry, a black and tan bloodhound. So that's a prompt, for example, that you could test out in many different places. Midjourney is a community site as well as an image creation mecca, if you like. There's lots of examples in there of really great prompts for people that are generating lots of really interesting images. And then there are the underlying models, and some of the names you might see mentioned: Imogen 3, DALL-E, which is in ChatGPT, Flux, and there are many others. So if you're looking for image creation, you might want to branch out from just creating an image within your normal AI general tool and find a specialist image creation and one that works best for the types of images that you want. There's one service that stands out above all else for me. Gamma is a site that I use pretty much daily, certainly weekly, and it allows you to create presentations really easily and really quickly. And it's the tool that I've actually used to create most of the presentations you see me using in our courses. So I've created a tailored theme for myself with colours that I want and an image style that I like. And all I have to do is upload a simple prompt, or you can paste in outlines. So usually when I'm doing these courses, I know what I want to say for each slide. So I can type in for each slide the type of content that I want, and it will generate some images for me. Very much recommend trying Gamma. The free test is actually quite generous. I used it for quite a long time before I ran out. And the paid plan is very low cost, monthly charge. And it definitely saves hours and hours of time if you don't mind the style. Very easy to use, very easy to edit. And then a category that I think saves a lot of people a lot of time, but one where you may need to be a little bit more cautious if you work in regulated industries or for the government, like I do currently. But AI meeting tools, if you get everyone's permission to record a meeting you're in, either face to face, or obviously there's some automated tools available in tools like Teams or Zoom, then it really helpfully will transcribe all of the things that are talked about in the meeting. But where it obviously comes into its own is later on, it will then write that up for you, summarize. Most of them are really clever and can tell you what actions were discussed, just understanding the natural language. If someone says, oh, I know, I will take an action for this, it will pick that out and you'll be able to ask it later. And many of the tools like Otter, Fireflies and Grain, and there are many others, have lots of different types of functionality that can be integrated and perhaps even generate task assignments and email out information afterwards. But this is a use case that many people quote as saving a lot of time. So just wanted to say that when we go as far as creating a separate tutorial on a tool, it's usually because we have tested it ourselves quite a lot and know that it works well. We try to concentrate on free or low cost tools to get best value for people on the Isle of Man. And if it's one that we can't access but do want to talk about or hint, then we make sure that we've taken recommendations from trusted sources. So there is an awful lot of information out there. There are newsletters that come out every day talking about new technologies and new tools. We synthesize all of that so that you don't have to. We test and we review the capabilities, and typically we'll only come back and tell you about the ones that we think are really interesting and going to stay the focus, because there's an awful lot of apps that are popular one day and then gone the next, and we wouldn't want you to get reliant on something that perhaps isn't going to stick around. So yes, we share tutorials for specific use cases and specific tools that we think are the most helpful for the most people. I hope that's been helpful.